Bang, Neeves Knives. I'm Jared. My lovely wife Kara is not here today, and today we are talking about the Twosun TS59. But first I want to talk about this weekend on Saturday. We are doing lives on Wednesdays and Saturdays from now on, but this Saturday I do have to go out of town just for the day, so we are going to move it to Sunday. I'm not sure exactly what time, because they're trying to figure out what time other people are doing lives. Usually it's at 7:30, but we might have to do it at 6:30 or maybe later. I'm not positive yet. I will make a post on Instagram and I will make a post on YouTube. So, but if you hit the bell, you'll get the reminder. Anyways, Twosun TS59. This is a Wong design. The total length is 8 1/4. Blade length is about 3.6. I'm going to do some really quick size comparisons and stats. And I'm going to do something a little different. I'm not going to go over any of the bad until the very end. So there might be a couple things I might pass up until the end. Okay, so let's get into this thing. Size comparisons. Let's throw up a couple Twosuns really quick. This is TS16. You can see the TS16 is a little bit bigger. This is a pretty long knife. And then here's another Wong design. A little mini-me. And then this is the TS158. And then let's throw up some common knives. Here's the Benchmade Bug Out. You can see it's a bit smaller. Here is another Twosun, the TS, what is it, the 129? I think that's what it is, the 129. They are pretty similar, but this one's just a little smidgen shorter. All right. And then one more common knife. Actually, maybe two. Here is the Civivi Picaro. This one's pretty long, so it does... it is a bit bigger. And then I'll throw up another USA-made knife. Here is the Benchmade Griptilian that a lot of people know. Very close in size comparison, but I think this one's just like a 1/4 inch longer. All right. So let's get into it. So this is M390 and titanium frame lock. I already said the blade length and the overall length. The hardware is all T8s. Very well done hardware. I love Twosun's hardware. Twosun does have incredible hardware. I love the milling that they're doing all over this. The build quality is phenomenal. They do have internal stop pins, which is fantastic, and a reverse detent track that we'll go over in just a bit. You can just see the fit and finish on this thing is really good. I know there's some oil down in there. I did oil it. I'll dry it up a bit, but the fit and finish is really, really good. And the grind. Okay, so now this is going to take a second to talk about, but I'll try to do it really quick. So this is a Japanese Tanto. And let me explain why. Okay, so now a real Japanese Tanto, I will throw up a picture, and it's based off of like the Japanese sword. So it has a straight flat here, and then right here it rounds up to the tip. It doesn't have this secondary tip here. It just basically goes from here and then just continuously rounds up. Now that's an authentic Japanese Tanto sword, but when you get to folding knives, there are little nuances. So it can't be an American Tanto, and the reason why is because an American Tanto, unlike a Japanese Tanto, which always has a round top, an American Tanto is always flat. Always. So here's another American Tanto, always flat. Another thing with the Tanto is it has a dual grind. So here is another Japanese Tanto. See how it goes like this, and then it has two grinds, the one grind and the second grind. Now here is this is considered a drop point, even though a lot of people might consider it a straight back, but it does actually taper down right here a little bit. So this is actually a drop point, even though it has 2 grinds. It's still a drop point blade. Now, this is a Japanese tanto, even though it does have this secondary tip, because it has this rounded front tip. If it was straight, then it would be an American tanto. So the closest thing it could possibly be is a Japanese tanto. Now, just like with drop points and clip points and all the other sheep's foots, Warncliffs, there's all little nuances here and there. Yes, there's the authentic, exact, like the exact shape that the authentic blade shape is. They're all, there's always the original, but there's still going to be little nuances here and there because we change things here and there. But the closest thing it could possibly be is that. Like if you look at drop points, there are so many different versions of a drop point, but if you look up the original drop point blade, it don't look like half the things that are considered drop points. And so with this, it has the dual grind, the grind here and then the grind here, and then it has the belly. Okay, so this is a tanto. Now, it cannot be an American tanto because it's not flat. So the closest thing it could be is a Japanese tanto. All right, enough said. Okay, so it has 2 flats. Basically, this is a flat and this is a flat. I will get into the grind in a little bit. I did not sharpen it. I did use it a little bit. Not a lot, but I did use it a little bit. And I did carry it, but not very much. And I will explain why towards the end. So, the Ergos. The Ergos are pretty decent. I mean, it is a little thin for how long it is, but it's still really, really good. And you can kind of feel just like how much work went into it. Like everything is chamfered really nice. Everything's rounded really nice. You can see like the 2 different grinds here, how they gave you an opening for the lock bar, but they left it flat right here, and everything's just, it feels really nice in the hand. Even this little spot right there just fits really good in my palm. Like I said, it is a bit thin, but aside from that, I mean, it's very comfortable in the hand. I love the texturing. This is aggressive lines, which feels really good in the hand, feels really locked in and secure. There is no finger choil, but there is a little sharpening choil there, which is cool that they actually did do because they did miss the plunge grind. The action, they have jimping right here that actually does work, but you more or less just hit the tip right there. Great detent. The detent is nice and crisp. Oop, that was my fault. The detent is nice and crisp, and it fires reliably every time. Detent is, I would say, medium. Very reliable. Now, the drop on it is very, very smooth. This thing is on ceramic bearings with a ceramic detent. Lock bar insert. So it's steel on steel, which is very reliable. And then it does have an over travel stop, so you don't have to worry about bending the lock bar. And then it does have a reverse detent track. All the bells and whistles that Twosun does, which is awesome. The build qualities for Twosuns, even on one of their older models like this, is just phenomenal. The fit and finish is just incredible. You can see it's nice and centered. So the detent on it, you can hear it right there. It's not a strong detent, but perfect. Very reliable. Okay, so now let's get to the good and the bad. Okay, so now the good thing is the build quality is phenomenal. The action is really good. Twosuns are very, very smooth. I love the access to the lock bar. It gives you this little cutout right there, which it literally feels very comfortable to unlock. It almost feels like you're just pushing a button. Very, very nice. I love that they put a reverse detent track in. The ergos are nice. Everything, it feels like an extremely well-built knife. The lockup is nice and strong. Just the build quality all around is very nice. But now the bad. Okay, we'll start with the first one. The grind. This is a bit crazy. So I measured this flat right here, which is the thinnest portion, at about 24 thousandths. Okay, and it gets thick very quick because they use a hefty, thick blade here. You see how thick this blade is. I mean, it is a thick boy. Let's throw it up against the Shaman. It's about the same thickness as a Shaman. I mean, this thing is thick, but yet it only has this far to drop. The tip here, 50 thousandths behind the edge right here. Look how thick that tip is. I mean, this is thick as a brick. You can just see on the tip how thick it is. I mean, let's look at it against the Shaman again. Look at how thick that is. You know what, maybe I should use a silver knife. Here's a Griptilian, which is known to have a thick tip. And look at that. I mean, it's thick. It's very thick. And, you know, I didn't sharpen it because of that reason. And not just because of that. You know, it didn't need to be sharpened. It actually has a pretty sharp edge. And, yeah. It just, I didn't want to start sharpening this damn tip. I'd have to take so much steel off. It'd take forever. And then it would just get thicker. I mean, it is thick. It's like they were trying to make a pry bar. But they missed it because, you know, you need the thing to be able to slip underneath stuff. You need it to scrape. And they could have did it half as thick. They could have did this thickness up here. And it would still be very, very strong. But, you know, it is what it is. So the blade or the edge grind is just way too thick, especially up here at the tip. This isn't so bad, but this up here, just, it's way too much. Okay, the next thing is the late detent. The detent is right there. So when you unlock it, your finger's in the way. It hasn't hit the detent yet. There's the detent. So you see how this is so close to here. So if you want to like get past the detent, you have to hold the lock bar way down here. And it's still right there. See, it's still hit. So I almost have to put my finger on top of this part. Or like unlock it way down here or something. Like, yeah, right there. For it to be past it. Luckily, they do give you a reverse detent track. So it's very easy to push right past it. Or even to shake it past. That's what I usually do. I usually just let it drop and then shake past, or just unlock it and push it. But late detent, the clip is the worst part about this knife. This is why I only carried it one time, was because I found out that in order for me to get it in or to carry it, I had to literally go like this every time and push it on. This just will not slip on to materials. I don't know if I'll be this. It might slip onto something thin like this, but let's just try it. There we go. And see, that was a little bit tougher than it should have been. It is not easy to get this little tiny ramp over stuff, and especially because it goes down into this channel. So your jeans normally, like say if this was my jeans, they would fold over the top of that flat or over the top of this groove, because it would rest from this side to this side and just go right over the top of this channel, if you know what I mean. So then it would just sit there and fight like that. And I could not get it on there for the life of me. I just could not do it. I tried and tried and tried, and I had to pick it up every time and do it. Coming out of the pocket was great. Riding in the pocket was fine. I mean, you only have like this much hanging out. But this is an older model from Twosun, and Twosun did have a lot of problems with their clips. Now, if I was going to recommend what to do about it, I'd say just change it. Just switch the damn thing, because they don't give you a lot of meat here to really give yourself a groove. But the next thing I guess you could do is maybe file down the tip into an angle. So you basically would file down this front part right here, like at an angle. That's the only thing I could think of. But other than that, the build quality is phenomenal, and it is a really cool knife. It just has those things. So it's not really a knife for me, and personally, I wouldn't recommend it. But for if you do like the knife and you like what it looks like, don't listen to what I say. I mean, because the build quality is phenomenal. Twosun does do an incredible job. This knife's just not personally for me, and I think it poses a couple more issues than, you know, than it would pose more issues than it would take to get into your pocket, basically is what I'm saying. But still a great knife, and, you know, maybe a lot of people do like it. I don't know. Just maybe not personally for me. Peace.